Allahu, 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 Allah, Allahu, Allah, la ilaha illallah.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. حمد الشاكرين وأفضل الصلاة وأكمل السلام على سيد المرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. Today is the third lesson in relation to Tarkeeb, and previously we covered the Jumla Ismiya. We covered the Jumla Ismiya. Within the Jumla Ismiya we know that it consists of two components, the Mubtada and Khabar. Both the Mubtada and Khabar will be in which state? In Halatul Raf. It will be in the Marfu state. We also mentioned that the ma'rifah, generally speaking, will be considered mubtada if a nakira occurs after it. If a ma'rifah occurs first and then a nakira occurs, the ma'rifah will be mubtada and the nakira will be considered khabar. So generally speaking, the mubtada is ma'rifah and the khabar is nakira. However, we did also cover an example in which both the mubtada and khabar were ma'rifah. هذا أديب. But generally speaking, the mubtada is ma'rifah and the khabar is nakira. We also previously covered three types of i'rab. We covered three types of i'rab. The i'rab on a word can be lafzi, so something can be marfu' lafzan, majroor lafzan, mansoob lafzan. Also something may be taqdiri, which meant concealed or hidden. So a word may be marfu' taqdiran, marfu' majroor taqdiran, mansoob taqdiran. Likewise, we covered another term which was mahalli. So something may be marfu' mahallan, mansoob mahallan, majroor mahallan, and so on. How did we differentiate between a taqdiri i'rab and a mahalli i'rab? Can anyone remember this question? Yes, Awais.
Mahalli i'rab is that which does not change regardless of being taqdiri or lafzi.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that?
The mahalli i'rab, due to being mabni word, it will not change.
Yeah. So the term mahal, this mahalli i'rab, something being mahallan, marfu', mansoob or majroor, this term is restricted to mabni words. This term is restricted to mabni words. What are mabni words? Words which do not accept change. So they are not affected by the amil. They are not affected by the amil. And then the term taqdiri.
Is that which is hidden but it is accepted?
Yes. So a mu'rab word you can refer to as its i'rab being taqdiri, right? Because the change does take place. The change, however, the change is concealed. The changes, we gave examples of this on the board in the previous lesson. What was a lafzi i'rab?
Ja'a Zaydun.
So in Ja'a Zaydun, how is the i'rab lafzi?
Because it accepts the i'rab and its lafzi part as well.
Yes. The wording, within the wording, the i'rab of the alamatul raf is apparent. Right? What is the alamatul raf in the term Zayd there? Zaydun. Dhammatain. Yes? It being dhammatain. Two pesh. That's correct. So we covered alongside that any additional rules. So if after the ma'rifah and nakira occurs, we mentioned the tarkeeb will be mubtada and khabar. But what if a ma'rifah occurred after a ma'rifah? Then generally speaking the tarkeeb would be mawsoof and sifa. What if a nakira occurred after a nakira? Again the tarkeeb would be mawsoof and sifa. And we covered a few examples. Let's cover one example today before mentioning some additional rules, principles. Zayd walad Salih. Zayd walad Salih. Sabil, you will do the tarkeeb of this inshallah. First and foremost, tell me, is Zayd ma'rifa or nakira? Inshallah, Sabil will be answering. It's fine, it's fine. It's a ma'rifa. Which type of ma'rifa does it fall under? Ism alam. It's a name of a being, a name of a person. Therefore, it's ma'rifa. Because names of people are specific. If I say Danyal, I'm referring to Danyal. If I say Abdul Jalil, I'm referring to Abdul Jalil. The person is specific. If I say Mukhtar, I'm referring to somebody specific. And ism alam. So Zayd is ma'rifa. After the ma'rifa, the term walad, is it?
Nakira.
The term walad is? Nakira. So after a ma'rifa, we have a?
Nakira.
So already we know what the tarkeeb is going to be. What will the tarkeeb be? Mubtada and khabar. Okay. Mubtada and khabar. So how would you read the mubtada and khabar?
Marfu. So Zaydun waladun.
Zaydun
Waladun.
waladun. Which type of i'rab from the three types is present on Zayd?
Lafzi marfu.
Yes, is marfu lafdhan. How is it marfu lafdhan? Yes, the i'rab is lafzi.
You can pronounce
Because you can pronounce it.
it. Same thing.
So how did you read this?
Waladun.
Waladun. So you worked out the i'rab. You mentioned it's Zaydun waladun because you know both the mubtada and khabar will always be
Marfu.
marfu. So he's reading Arabic already without the symbols being present. Alhamdulillah. Through identifying which category each word will fall under due to the principles that are being memorized. So Zayd is mubtada and walad is the khabar because a ma'rifa occurred first and a nakira occurred after it. So how would you read? Is this the word walad is nakira? What about the word salih?
Nakira.
This is also nakira. So if a nakira occurs alongside a nakira or a nakira occurs after a nakira, what will the tarkeeb be? Mawsoof and sifa. So now we know that walad is mawsoof and salih is the sifa. Would it be correct to say that the mawsoof and sifa together become the khabar? No. Why? Because the focus of i'rab, the focus of nahv is on i'rab. The focus of nahv is on i'rab. And the reason as to why you considered this to be marfu is because it was a khabar. However, the word salih is not marfu because it is khabar, rather because it is a tabi. It is a tabi. It is a follower of the word which is coming before it in terms of i'rab. Because the sifa follows the i'rab of the mawsoof. Look, I'll give you another example. Nobody has to do tarkeeb of this. I just want you to acknowledge something. There is another principle which we mentioned right in the beginning, that if a nakira occurs first and then a ma'rifa. Yes, we covered that. If a ma'rifa occurs, then a nakira, it's mubtada and khabar. However, we also mentioned that if the nakira occurs first and then the ma'rifa, then the tarkeeb will be of mudaf, mudaf ilay. Mudaf and mudaf ilay. So here, we know that the mudaf can never accept tanween. The mudaf can never accept. However, what's coming after the ma'rifa? A nakira. What's coming after the ma'rifa? A nakira. Initially, the term walad is nakira. The term walad is nakira. Then once it becomes mudaf towards Zayd, it becomes ma'rifa within itself. Which type? Mu'arraf bil idafa. So when a nakira is mudaf towards a ma'rifa, the nakira becomes ma'rifa. The nakira then becomes It's no longer nakira. It's become ma'rifa. Okay? Marraf bil idafa. Right. So then after this ma'rifa, a nakira has occurred. After this ma'rifa, a nakira has occurred. So this will be, if after a ma'rifa, nakira occurs, what happens? It will be a khabar. It will be a khabar. So where is the mubtada? The word walad on its own or waladu zaydin together? If you say waladu zaydin together is mubtada, so you bring the mudaf and mudaf ilayh together, and then you say it's mubtada. So you're bringing the mudaf and the mudaf ilayh together, and then you're saying it's mubtada. What is the state of the mubtada? Which state does it come in? In the raf'i state, right? But if you're including this, if you're considering this to be a part of the mubtada, then why is it majroor? The point being is, together they can't be mubtada. They can't be mubtada. Because mubtada is always marfu. Mubtada is. So it's incorrect to say both the mudaf and mudaf ilayh together become mubtada. Rather the mudaf on its own will become mubtada. Likewise here is the first word which will be considered the khabar. Okay, so look. Waladu zaydin, mudaf and mudaf ilayh. However, you will only say the mudaf is mubtada. You will only say, you will not say the mudaf ilayh is also mubtada, because mubtada, something which is mubtada, its state is for it to be marfu. For it to be, however, is zaydin marfu? Zaydin is majroor. Mudaf ilayh is always majroor, so you cannot put them together. Rather you will say the term walad is mubtada, Zayd is just mudaf ilayh, you leave it as that, and Kareem is khabar. Anyway, we'll come to the mudaf ilayh tarkeeb later on. Zayd is mubtada, waladun. So I was mentioning that Nahw focuses on i'rab. So the reason as to why you're reading this marfu is because it's mubtada. The reason as to why you're reading waladun as marfu is because it is the khabar. But you're not reading salihun because it's khabar. So for you to term it khabar, you're implying that it's marfu because it's khabar. This would be incorrect. This would be, why are you reading this marfu then? Because it's a tabi, it's a follower of the mawsoof in terms of i'rab. So mubtada khabar, and then salih is just sifa. Mubtada also referred to as the musnad ilay. Remember, there are two pillars to a sentence. How many pillars? Two. You have the musnad ilay and the musnad. The musnad ilay and the musnad. These are the two main pillars of a sentence. These are the foundations, and after that you can add on whatever you like. But these two must exist within a sentence. Musnad ilay is that towards which something is linked. And the musnad is that which links. The musnad is that which. So here in Zaydun, waladun salihun, is waladun linked towards Zayd, or is Zayd linked towards walad? The khabar is linked towards the being. The khabar is linked towards the mubtada. The khabar is linked towards the. So the mubtada is always musnad ilay. The mubtada is, and the khabar is musnad. But now you may have a question. And the question may be that, hang on a second, you're saying that only the first word is khabar. But the news that we're trying to report here is not that Zayd is a child, but rather he's a pious child. That's what you're trying to say. Zayd is a. So by me saying that Salih is not the khabar, does that mean that I'm only trying to say Zayd is a child, and I'm not trying to inform you of him being a pious child? So this is a question which can arise. Do you understand the question first? Yes? This is why I mentioned previously that the term, that Nahw focuses on i'rab. When we use the term khabar in Nahw, if you're speaking broadly, then yes, you can say that the khabar is waladun salihun, but in terms of meaning. So the meaning you're trying to portray, the news that you're trying to inform us of, is that Zayd is a pious child. However, in terms of i'rab, only walad is khabar. Only. So we're not talking about in terms of meaning, we're talking about in terms of i'rab. Do you understand that? If you don't understand it, it's fine. You can ask a question.
So I don't understand the musnad ilay question.
Right. So if we're saying that waladun is the khabar, not waladun salihun together, then you may say, no, hang on a second, then we're trying to inform somebody of him being a pious child. So if you're saying this is not a part of the khabar, then all you're really saying is Zayd is a child, but that's not what you're trying to report to me. You are trying to report to the people that he's a pious child. So that's the khabar you're trying to give. That's the news you're trying to give. However, the focus of Nahw is Arab. So you know, when we use the term khabar, we're not speaking broadly, we're not speaking in terms of meaning, we're speaking in terms of Arab. So the reason why this is marfu is because it's khabar. The reason why this is marfu is because it's, and the term salih, is this marfu because it's khabar in terms of Arab? No. Why is this marfu? Because it's tabi, it just follows the mawsuf in terms of Arab. Okay?
I've got another question. When the khabar walad, is that alone a musnad?
Yeah, walad is the musnad. Okay, walad is the musnad. Okay, so then the mubtada and khabar will become which jumla? The mubtada and khabar will become that when the mubtada and khabar will become a jumla. Is it khabariya or insha'iyya? Khabariya, because can one declare it being true or false? If Zayd's a pious child, then it's true. If it's not, then it's false. So jumla ismiya khabariya. Right. That example is done. We did not translate that sentence. What was the sentence? Zaydun waladun salihun. So how would you translate it? Zayd is mubtada and walad is the khabar. So between the mubtada and khabar, what do we bring in between? Is. So is a or is an. So Zayd is a. Now wait, we have nakira and nakira. We have nakira and when nakira and nakira occur, it's considered mawsuf and sifa. And when the mawsuf and sifa are nakira, what do we translate first? So how would we say it? Pious child. So Zayd is a pious child. Correct. Right, we've done that. Now, let's do another example. Right. Kalim, Rajul. Kalim, Rajul, Salih, Alim, Fadil. Abdul Jalil, you will do tarkeeb of this. Is the word Kalim ma'rifa or nakira?
It's ma'rifa.
Is ma'rifa. Which type of ma'rifa?
Ism alam.
Yes, it's an ism alam. Right. Then the term Rajul ma'rifa or nakira? Why is it nakira? Where's the evidence?
Has no sign of ma'rifa.
It has no sign of ma'rifa present within it. So if a ma'rifa occurs first and then a nakira, the tarkeeb will be?
Mubtada khabar.
So already we know this is the mubtada and this is the khabar. Now we have a nakira here. What's occurring after the nakira?
Also nakira.
Another nakira. So if a nakira comes alongside a nakira, let's do this first. Mubtada. You mentioned this is khabar. Salih. Okay. So we have a nakira and a nakira. What will the tarkeeb be? Mawsuf sifa. So the khabar is a mawsuf and salih is a sifa. Right. We have another nakira which has occurred. Alim.
That would also be another sifa.
That will also be another sifa. But my question to you is, will it be a sifa of Salih or will it be a sifa of Rajul?
It would be a sifa of Rajul.
Why Rajul?
You can't have a sifa of a sifa.
Correct. An attribute is not attributed to an attribute. Okay? A quality is not attributed towards another quality. So the attribute is attributed to a being. So this is the first sifa, sifa ula. And this is sifa saniya Fadil is?
That's another nakira as well.
That's it. Another nakira. Sifa thalitha. Right. How would you then read this? Mubtada is always marfu. So how will you read this word? Kalimun. Which type of marfu is it?
Lafzi.
Marfu lafzan, correct. The term rajul is khabar, so how will you read it?
It would be Rafi as well.
So how would you read it?
Rajulun.
Raju?
Lun.
Rajulun, correct. Because the khabar is also marfu. The term salih?
That follows the mawsuf, so it would be marfu as well.
Yes. So the sifa follows the mawsuf in terms of i'rab. So how will you read this?
Salihun.
Salihun. Why is he reading a salihun? Is he reading a salihun because it's khabar? Why is he reading a salihun then? Because the tabi is following its mawsuf in terms of i'rab. Correct. Alim.
That's also marfu.
Marfu. Alimun. Next.
Fadilun.
Fadil. I want you to read it all together now. You've done it yourself anyway.
It's meant to be a dot on the dot.
Oh yes, Fadilun. Take.
Kalimun, Rajulun, Salihun, Alimun, Fadilun.
MashaAllah. This is a first year student who has learnt how to read Arabic text with i'rab already. MashaAllah. The sentence was quite lengthy as well. MashaAllah. Which type of i'rab is applied on all of these?
Marfu.
Marfu. They're all marfu lafzan because you can pronounce, right? How would you translate now? So you have a ma'rifah and a nakira. Which term do you bring in between?
Is or are. So
Is. You're gone.
in this case, it would be is. So it would be Kalim, is,
A.
and then you translate the sifa before the.
Why are you going to translate the sifa before the mawsuf?
Because it's an attribute and you translate.
Yeah, and they're both nakira. And then when they're both nakira mawsuf sifa, then you translate the sifa first. So Kalim is a.
Is a pious man.
And now you can bring the term and in English. He's a pious man and a.
And a learned.
Yeah, a learned man, a scholarly man, and an expert.
And an expert.
And a man who's an expert. Right. Then the mubtada and khabar will become. While the mubtada and khabar become. Jumla ismiya khabariya. Why? Because you can declare that as being true or false. So the musnad ilay is kalimun mubtada and the musnad is rajul. The rest is all additional. This is why you're leaving it as it is. This is why you're leaving it as it is. Right. Is that okay? Shall I remove it? We got 15 minutes. There's another rule which I would like for you all to write down, which is within an ism fa'il there is a fa'il. So every ism fa'il has a fa'il within it. Every ism fa'il has a. Every ism maf'ul has a na'ibul fa'il in it. Every ism maf'ul has a. Likewise for ism tafdeel, that also has a fa'il within it. And these asma mushtaqat work like this. So the ism fa'il has a fa'il within it. The term alim is an ism fa'il. Ism, what's inside it? Is this a siga? Is this siga wahid? Is it siga wahid? It's wahid in it. So which damir will be inside it? Huwa. So the term alim has a what inside it? A fa'il. Zaydun alimun. In this example, first and foremost, is Zayd ma'rifa or nakira? Which type of ma'rifa is it? It's an ism alam, mashallah, well done. So if after a ma'rifa a nakira occurs, the tarkeeb will be Mubtada and khabar. So how will you read it? Zaydun alimun, because they both will be in halatul raf'. They both will be read marfu'. However, we have an ism fa'il here. We haven't. So today we're going to learn something new. In the term alim, what did I mention? An ism fa'il has a? So the ism fa'il here has a fa'il within it. That fa'il being huwa, because it's an ism fa'il siga wahid. It's a siga wahid. And what is the wahid damir? Huwa. This huwa inside alim returns back to Zayd. This huwa inside alim returns back to Zayd, the mubtada. So the ism fa'il, plus its huwa fa'il plus its together becomes a shib jumla. It becomes a shib jumla. It resembles a jumla. It's what? In reality, it's not jumla because it's one word. It's one word, but it resembles the jumla. How does it remember the jumla? Look at jumla fi'liya, for example. What does a fi'l do? It has a fa'il, doesn't it? And it can also have a maf'ul. Remember, the ism fa'il can also have a fa'il and can also have a maf'ul. So this is a shib jumla. This is a shib jumla. Then the shib jumla will become the khabar. The shib jumla will become the khabar. Do you understand that? So Zayd will be mubtada and the shib jumla will be khabar. Mubtada and khabar will become jumla ismiya khabariya. Right. Is this understood? Because now I will give another example. Let's do one more example like this first. Let's do another example like this. Right. Ihtisham, do you want to go in this one? Just achieve the same kind of tarkeeb. This example we covered before. Now, Ihtisham, have an attempt inshallah. Is Bakr ma'rifa or nakira? Which type of ma'rifa? Ism alam. Al-Fadil? Nakira. Okay, why is it nakira?
There's no signs of the ma'rifah.
Okay, I want you to go through the signs of ma'rifa for me. What are they? Tell me what you remember.
Ism, damir, ism alam.
Is this a damir? Al-Fadil? No. Okay. Is it an ismul alam? No. Carry on.
Ism ishara.
Is this an ism ishara? No. Okay, carry on. Is it an ism al-ismul mawsool? No. Maraf bil lam? What's maraf bil lam? When a nakira word is made ma'rifa through alif lam. Does that have alif lam? So what is it? Ma'rifa, correct. So ma'rifa occurring after a? What will the tarkeeb be? Mawsoof and sifa. Fine, we know this tarkeeb, this is mawsoof and sifa. However, before making the sifa, this is an ism fa'il. This is an fadilun on the template of alimun, on the template of fa'ilun. So fadilun on the template of fa'ilun, ism fa'il, fadil, alim, so on. So they are on the same template, therefore it's an ism fa'il. This is an ism fa'il. However, remember the first word is always, number one is that mubtada. First we need to acknowledge whether that is mubtada or not. After the ma'rifa, is this ma'rifa or nakira? This is nakira. So after a ma'rifah, what's occurred? So this will be then, if after a ma'rifah nakira occurs, what is the tarkeeb? Mubtada and khabar. So we know this is khabar now. So this must be mubtada. But al-fadil is ism fa'il. What does the ism fa'il have inside here is siga wahid. So you will have a huwa damir inside it. Now, in future lessons, we will go through more detail in relation to the damir. Which type of damir is it? Which state is it in, and so on. We'll discuss the damir later as well. But for now, just keeping it slightly simple. So the ism fa'il has a huwa damir fa'il inside it. That huwa damir is returning back to Bakr. Returning back to? So raji ila al-mubtada. Raji ila is returning back to mubtada. The ism fa'il with its fa'il will become shib. Well done. Shib jumla ismiya. Become a shib jumla ismiya. Right. And then it will become sifa. And then after all that it will become sifa. After making it into a shib jumla, then it will become a sifa. Rajul, ma'rifa, nakira. Nakira. Coming after a ma'rifa, therefore is khabar. Salih, nakira, ma'rifa, nakira. So a nakira is occurred after a nakira, what will the tarkeeb be? Mawsoof sifa. So the khabar is mawsoof and salih is sifa. But do we make it sifa right away? This is the question. Is salih on the scale of fa'il? Salihun, fa'ilun. If it's on the same template, so is salih on the template of fa'il? Is salihun on the template of fa'ilun? Therefore it's an ism fa'il. So we can't make it sifa right away. First we will say it's an ism fa'il. And what's inside an ism fa'il? A huwa damir. In this ism fa'il, because it's siga wahid, there's a huwa damir which is going back to the mawsoof. Then the ism fa'il with its damir, with its fa'il will become sifa. Now it will become sifa after becoming a shib jumla. Okay, you mentioned first the ism fa'il with its fa'il will become shib jumla. That shib jumla will then become sifa. The mubtada and khabar will become a jumla ismiya. Well, let's translate it first to work out whether it's insha'iyya or khabariya. So we have a mawsoof and sifa, but they're both ma'rifah. So how are we going to translate this? Or I read it first actually, yes, go on. Right, we have Bakrun al-Fadilu. Why are you saying al-Fadilu? Why not al-Fadilun? Can anyone else answer this first? We'll give it to Sham a break. Sabil?
Alif lam. A word which has alif lam doesn't accept.
A word which has alif lam does not accept tanween. So we'll read al-Fadilu. But if you say Bakrun al-Fadilu, there's no fluency in the reading. There's no fluency. So how are we going to combine it? I mentioned a rule in the previous lesson that if after a tanween there's a hamza wasal, after a tanween there's a temporary hamza which can be dropped, you bring a noon, qutni, noon. So how will you read it? Bakrunil Fadilu. So Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. If you want to join it, Qul huwa Allahu ahadunillahu samad. Okay? So Bakrunil Fadilu. You read Bakrun as marfu. Why? Because it's mubtada. Which type of marfu is it? Marfu lafdhan. Al-Fadilu. Why did you read Al-Fadilu as marfu? Anybody can help?
Tabi.
It's a tabi. It's a what? Tabi. The sifa follows the mawsoof in terms of i'rab. The sifa follows the mawsoof in terms of i'rab. So this is why we're reading al-fadilu, reading a marfu. Marfu lafzan taqdeeran mahallan. Lafzan, correct. Awais, how would you translate Bakrun al-Fadilu? Because both are ma'rifah, they're both mawsuf sifa. One mawsuf, the other is sifa. But how would you translate it if both are ma'rifah? Who is. So Bakr, who is an expert. Or Bakr, you can say Bakr the expert if you like. Or Bakr, who's an expert. Now, you already said this is khabar. So how will you read this? Back to Ihtisham. How is this read? Why Rajulun? Because it's khabar. Why are we reading Rajulun? Because it's khabar. Then how will you read the next word? Salihun. Why Salihun? Because it's a tabi of the khabar. Because it's a sifa follows the mawsuf in terms of i'rab. So Bakrun al-Fadilu Rajulun Salihun, and they all have i'rab lafzi. They all are marfu lafzan. How do you translate between? So how would you translate the mubtada and khabar? What do you bring in between the mubtada and khabar? Is. So Bakr the expert, or Bakr who is an expert, is. But when the mawsuf and sika are both nakira, so in the case where the mawsuf and sifa are both ma'rifah, what did we translate first? We mentioned the mawsuf first and then we added who is or who's. Okay? But in the case where they're both nakira, what do you translate first? The sifa. So Zaid, who is an expert, is a pious man. Do you understand this? So every ism file will have a file. We'll continue from here next lesson.
When you bring the noon in,
Noon kutni. It doesn't mean you start speaking. We're still in the lesson. A question is being asked. This question somebody else might have as well. So let him.
noon kutni comes in. Can we read nil fadalun, or you still has to be noon?
So you'll say Bakru nil fadilu. That's the way you'll read it.
Fadilu.
Ya fadilu.
So that places are because you're dropping the alif.
Yeah, you drop the alif, so you won't say Bakruni al fadilu. You can't say that. You'll drop that. You'll go straight to the lam. Bakru nil fadilu. Okay. Is that lesson okay? Please be honest, because there's viewers watching as well, and they may have questions in their mind which they can't really ask me directly right now. They're not as lucky as you. They're not as unfortunate as you having me before you. On a serious note, is there any question they have in relation to the lesson that we've just had? Sorry?
When there is mawsuf sifa and that's sifa of fadifa, you also mentioned that every sentence that musnad mentions a word. Now can musnad be more than one word that instructs the musnad there, and be that just on one word?
No, the musnad will be one word. That khabar is the musnad.
So the sifa, the extra sifa.
They're just additional parts of the sentence. So you have foundation, then if you want to build a roof and so on, that's up to you. Yes? The fruit of any sentence is a musnad delay, but there will still be a need of the musnad as well. So these two are the pillars of any jumla. Is that okay? Right. That's it for this lesson, inshallah. And we'll continue tomorrow. Well, Monday.
Allahu, Allahu, Allah, Allahu, Allah, la ilaha illallah.